Hello, and welcome to this MBA and BGA webinar on how business schools boost student engagement through enhanced course evaluations in association with Explorance. I'm Natalia Mańkowska, Commercial Liaison and Business Manager at MBA and BGA, and I'm looking forward to an hour of really insightful and interesting insight. And shortly I will hand over to our panel channel, Firuze Agan, to start the conversation. Before I do, some housekeeping. We want the conversation to be as interactive as possible, so please feel free to leave questions in the Q&A, which we will answer at the end of the session. And this recording will be available of the webinar post the webinar, and we will share it with everyone registered. Without further ado, I would like to hand it over to Firuze.
Thanks, Natalia, for that introduction. I think we'll get started, and I think everyone will start joining soon. So today we're here for the webinar titled How Business Schools Boost Student Engagement Through Enhanced Course Evaluations. I'm Firuze Agan. I'm the Senior Field Manager, Marketing Manager at Explorance, specifically in the EMEA region, and I'll be moderating today's session. Natalia's shared the housekeeping rules with you already, so we'll hopefully share the recording afterward. I think the main thing I would say is we would like this to be interactive. We do have pre-prepared questions and we will get stuck into the discussion soon, but feel free to use the Q&A function to put your questions in for the panelists, and we'll try our best to get through to them. Great, okay. Yes, so if we can go over, what I'm going to do is I am actually going to, if we go over to the next slide, yeah, the one after as well. Yeah, I'm literally just going to take a few minutes here to just talk about Explorance very briefly, and then I know we will very much soon get stuck into meeting the speakers. So Explorance has been providing for 21 years feedback solutions to over 100 organizations around the world, including top QS ranked institutions, as well as being recognized by Times as the top edtech company. Next slide, please. Here, this one just shows us, so our vision at Explorance is to create innovative technology to help inform and inspire progress in society. And we help that through the student journey as well as the employee journey. Next one. This one here just shows very quickly, briefly. So obviously today we are here talking to higher education. We predominantly will be, we do serve that. So here, this just shows different touch points within higher education, how we can, how the solution can touch through the journey of the employee, the student in higher education, and then the employee in human resources departments. Next one, please. We have two key products here that serves the higher education. Explorance Blue, the first one, is the flagship feedback analytics platform, and it essentially helps institutions around the world to gather, analyze, and act on feedback. Millie is fairly new, the newer product. It's a leading AI-powered solution for distilling actionable insights, predominantly for qualitative feedback, and it's built specifically for higher education. Next one. Great. So on to meeting the panelists. So today with us, we have Kristen Huber, the evaluation and quality expert from University of St. Gallen. We have Jens Naber, Chief Digital Officer from Mannheim Business School. Asia Viachka, Academic Controller, and Kristen Wallstrom. Sorry if I've pronounced any of those wrong, but we've got Kristen Wallstrom from Data Insights Manager from Stockholm School of Economics. What we will do now is each panelist will have 3 to 5 minutes to just, they all have a slide each. They'll give background information about their institution just to set the tone a little bit, and just high level thoughts about that topic today. Again, reminding you all here today that we're here to talk about how business schools boost student engagement through enhanced course evaluations. So I think we're starting with Kristen. Over to you.
Good, thanks very much. So I'll just quickly introduce the University of St. Gallen, which is the business school in Switzerland, so to say. So we have about 9,500 students on bachelor, master, and PhD levels, as well as a very strong executive education program and a well-known MBA and EMBA. In total, we have about 1,000 lectures. Because we are a business school, we don't just have academic professors, we also have a lot of external experts, right? So the CEO of a large bank, or automobile industry often come and provide courses at our university to kind of help with that transfer that we all know is very important in the business environment. We're also a holder of the Triple Crown accreditation. One of about 1% of universities worldwide has this, with the 3 accreditations of EQUIS, AACSB, and AMBA. And we're also very, very proud of our flagship program, the ranked #1 Masters in Management in the world for 13 out of the past 14 years. So we were also #1 last year, just to point that out. And something remarkable, I think, about our university in Switzerland also is over 50% of our students do a semester abroad. So we are very well networked within schools internationally, and would welcome further networking with those of you who are in the audience today. All right, so thanks. On to the next school.
Hello, my name is Christine Wallström, and I'm here also with my colleague Asya Viachka. We are both from the Stockholm School of Economics, and we are an international business school based in Sweden, freestanding, not attached to any university here. And you can see our program portfolio here on the side. All the programs, except for some selected ones in executive education, are fully in English. We have around 2,000 students on bachelor, master, and PhD level, and around 150 faculty members. Since we are going to talk today about student engagement and course evaluations, I wanted to give you a bit of an outline how it works at our institution. So we have 4 official study periods per year, 2 in the fall, 2 in the spring. And each period we are evaluating between 40 and 80 courses, plus also the SSE MBA executive format courses. For us, student feedback is very crucial, and we know that engagement is sort of the way to get good and feedback from many students. So one thing that I'm sure we will be talking a lot about during the panel is a project that we have been running, 2-year response rate project with focus on student engagement, which we have now actually turned into more of a general process in our course evaluation framework to ensure ongoing work with technology engagement and evaluation processes. That's all from us.
Thank you, Kristen. I think that's Jan's next.
Yeah, thank you very much for the introduction. I would like to start to also talk a bit about the University of Mannheim and our business school. So the Mannheim Business School is part of the university, which consists of 6 different schools. We are the largest one of them, so 4,000 of the 12,000 students in Mannheim study something business related. We have a bit of a unique structure in Mannheim because the business school is in 2 parts, more or less. So we have the public institution, which directly is part of the university. There are our bachelor and master programs. The classical ones are located there with 4,000 students, more or less, and 37 full-time professors. And we have the private non-profit institution, the Mannheim Business School, of which I'm part of, which is responsible for the post-experience programs like MBA, executive MBA, but also some executive programs, short programs, certificate programs, and so on. So we at the private institution have 8 different degree programs and about 800 active students each year. And last but not least, some key facts about us. So the private Mannheim Business School was founded in 2005. We also have the Triple Crown since 2008 and are mostly ranked as the #1 business school for MBA, EMBA programs in Germany. And also we are quite proud of our alumni network, which is very international and belongs out of 68 different alumni chapters and 8 network clubs. So we have a large network behind it, which is one of our also main selling points for our students, which really like the networking aspect of our studies. So, yeah.
Sorry, that's me unmuting. Yeah, perfect. And what we'll do now is, Natalia, we'll stop sharing. And just quickly, I think there's been a note in the QA function. I think the chat might be disabled. If you could just have a look at that for us, Natalia. Thank you. Yeah, so I thought, so that's all the slides done. Thank you everyone for your introductions. That's really helpful. Nice to get a bit of a background. And now we can get stuck in the questions. So we'll start by talking about challenges and talk about some of the issues in the sector. So my first question is going to be, what were the main issues, challenges, blockages you were faced in increasing student engagement in course evaluation? And how did you overcome these? Who would like to start off? Shall I pick on somebody? Kristen, shall I pick on you? Kristen?
I'll go ahead. Yes, again. Yes. So I think, as with most institutions and really across the board, the biggest challenge that we have is just evaluation fatigue, right? Not just in the university, not just the students, everyone every day is bombarded by surveys from every single service provider they have and some that they don't have who would like to acquire them as customers. So we really thought about, okay, good, what can we do to address this? And we decided to think outside the box of just the course evaluation to look at all the surveys that are going out from the university. And we worked to make a central survey center in the university so that if anybody within the university sends a survey, whether it's from a program or from career services or the faculty, whoever is contacting these students, that they have to register with us, and we take a look at see the best time frame to make sure that we don't have 10 surveys running parallel to our course evaluation. And this is something that we did, including a calendar, to help reduce this evaluation fatigue that we all know is occurring. In addition, the literature shows us that if we shorten the questionnaire, the students are more likely to reply and have a better response rate. And just to kind of help that on that side of student interest, we've shortened our questionnaire, and we've also decided to introduce a novelty aspect by allowing each instructor to write their own questions for the course evaluation. So of course we have core questions, but that they can also write up to 2 of their own questions. So every survey is a little bit different, which raises a bit of curiosity from the student side. And we were hoping that that would also counter some evaluation fatigue. The last 2 points are very, very small, reworking our timing to make sure that not all courses are evaluated at the same time, because through our empirical analysis, we found that, of course, in any period where most evaluations are going out, that's when the response rate goes down, the most, right? To really kind of redistribute the course evaluation more throughout the semester is something that we're looking at overall. So that all comes back to reducing evaluation fatigue, and those are the challenges that we saw in the steps.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm pretty sure the other 2 institutions will probably relate to that. But Jens, can I pick on you next?
Yeah, sure. For us, one of the key challenges was as we are a predominantly on-campus institution, we were a few years ago still running with paper-based evaluations, which worked very well for us because the lecturer hands out the paper and waits for everyone to fill it out, and afterwards we have the feedback of nearly everyone. And then the same challenge everyone had, COVID hit us, and we had to go online for most of our stuff, and suddenly we had very poor response rate because we made a quick switch to SurveyMonkey, which we put in our normal paper evaluation as an online form and then sent out a link afterwards. And of course, the students ignored it. So we had this as one of our big challenges to make the transition from the paper-based evaluation to an online evaluation, and to get the response rate back up. So of course, we tried a lot of stuff out, but as Kristen also mentioned, you don't want to bombard your students with reminders and invitations for evaluations. And it was really hard for us to find the balance on how often do I bother the students and when do I let them go. And also it took quite some time for us and also for our lecturers to get the right mindset that 100% response rate is maybe not the thing you want, because not everyone has to say something valuable for you. So you have to let go of that idea that you want feedback from everyone. You want valuable feedback at the end of the day. So this was also a big challenge to get everyone involved in the right mindset at the institution.
Yeah, I mean, response rates just comes up all the time, isn't it? It's a pain of many institutions, but there are definitely ways to work around that. Kristin Wallström, Asya, I'm not saying you, I know we need to rest your voice. So let everyone know Asya's not feeling very well today, but she still joined us. She doesn't have very much voice. So Kristin Wallström will chip in for all of the Stockholm School of Economics chat. So yes, let's get your thoughts on the challenges.
Thank you. So, I mean, we have an issue also that's linked to what Jens was saying. And it's also, I mean, we have had online evaluations for a longer time, but in general, reaching students sort of, has been a challenge. That we have noticed that several of the students, for example, put a block on emails being sent out from our evaluation system. Or some students seem to discard them as spam as well. So what we did is we, for example, tried to use HTML to make the emails more engaging to the students, make it look more branded, make it look more, official, rather than maybe plain text. Please click on this link and answer the survey, which seems to have helped quite a bit. We also, through Blue, have the chance to have the prompts for the evaluations on the learning management system we use, Canvas, which also has helped very much, because it's just another channel. And through that way, also students seem to be connecting it more to the course and the coursework itself than maybe as something separate of it. I think then one other challenge that we have also had is that students, so we ask for the feedback in the end of the course, so students don't really seem to be perceiving the impact of their feedback, because they feel like, okay, the course is over, there's nothing I can say that will change my personal experience. So what we are trying to do is that we upload summary feedback on our portal that we have for the school, so that students can use other students' reviews to look before they are choosing classes, so that they understand, okay, if we are all filling out evaluations, I can also get some information about courses I might take in the future. And then also, of course, the more faculty, or we have experienced, the more faculty sort of are vocal about what they have been doing with the course in response to feedback, the more students seem to be engaged and seem to be willing to give feedback. So this is actually a policy now at the school, that each faculty member is supposed to, in the beginning of the class, give an idea of what the feedback was the previous time around and how they have reacted, and build it in. So for us, sort of, we work a lot with student engagement via faculty engagement as well, because that seems to be really crucial.
Nice. And that actually leads really nicely to the next conversation, because I think that's the problem, right? You know, a lot of students feel like, you know, Kristin, you mentioned feedback fatigue. We're surveying them again and again. And then Jens, you know, this trouble of response rates, and then not actually feeling like their feedback makes any change or input to any course evaluation enhancement, basically. So the next question then leads quite nicely is, how important has closing the feedback loop been in increasing student engagement? Jens, let's start with you.
Yeah, I think we don't return all the feedback to the students. So we have, for each of the evaluations they get a short summary afterwards uploaded. They can look into it if they want, but we don't make a big discussion point out of it. In normal cases, we address it if it is something we feel it needs to be addressed at the end of the day, because we also see the issue that the fatigue also comes when you try to explain them 5 different evaluation results per week. So no one wants to hear it afterwards. So we try to pick up feedback via our program management, where we say, yeah, we saw that you had some issues here, or something did work out really well. And we try to go into the conversation then afterwards, which, direct conversation, not just updating it in the course platform or anything like that. So really talking to them and say, yeah, we got the feedback, we heard you, we listened to you, we try to improve it in the future. I think that's the way we would try to run it. And also, we always try to incorporate the lecture into that, first for getting out the evaluation. So we, as I said earlier, we had the paper evaluations beforehand, and it worked really well for us. So we try to get this mindset back. So we don't send out the evaluation as a link only. Of course, we do also that. We make it available via Canvas and so on. But also we encourage our lecturers to set 10 minutes aside in the last lecture to put up a QR code to ask them, yeah, please fill it out now. If you want to give me feedback, do it now. We have the time for it. You don't have to go home for it. So we saw a big increase in the quality of our evaluation results, but also the amount when we really gave them the time to do it, because when we wait for them to go home, they forget it.
Yeah, good point. Yeah. Kristin Huber, what about you in terms of closing the feedback loop? How important is it in your institution?
Obviously, very important.
Say enough.
Yeah, we've taken a lot of steps to really address it and to really close it. I think this is something that everybody says that we want, and everybody wants it, but in reality, it's not so easy to achieve. So one thing that we do is our course evaluation takes place during the lecture period, so not at the end, right? So we advise all of our faculty, please evaluate in the last third of your course. And through the Boost software that we use, they can set the dates to make sure that it is in the last third and not the last session. Yeah, it's also an integral part of our overall feedback cycle, so that when they evaluate, they get the results before the last class so that they can speak about it. And that's really important for us, that the instructors have 5 minutes to show the results of the course and say, oh, you know, this time you said this course said that you would rather have this as a block format. I tried that last year, and the feedback was the students didn't have enough time to process that, right? So they can explain maybe some of their choices, or say, oh, that's really good feedback. This is something I'll take on board next time. Again, people will provide feedback if they feel it's being used. So this part of integration into our feedback cycle is very important. Another thing that we're looking into is that the feedback from the faculty regarding the student feedback, that we integrated into the report itself, where there's a field where the instructors can write, thank you for your feedback, you know, I've taken this on board, and so on. This is something that we're working toward in our institution. We haven't implemented it yet. But it also brings me to another point, is that we release the student feedback to the students as long as it's above a certain threshold, and obviously only the quantitative, just to add transparency and increase their engagement, to say, okay, good, this is, you know, what the cohort thinks, and this is something that's improving the university, and my voice is being heard.
Yeah, I really like the idea of evaluating the last third. Unfortunately for us, we mostly have block courses, so it's quite hard to implement something like that. But the idea to have the feedback in the same lecture, not in the next cohort, is really intriguing for me there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for us, that's also not possible, because we actually have a policy that course evaluations include exams. So the course evaluations ends sort of when there are no more lectures, or like when the exam is also finished. So unfortunately, that timing doesn't work. And we also have very short, since I mentioned in the beginning, we have quarters. So the course length is really short. So for us, there isn't really much flexibility with the timing of the evaluation, because we want to make sure students have gone through a significant amount of the class before they answer. So for us, yeah, it's only really possible then for the next cohort. But what we have also done, just to sort of, or to really make sure that faculty do work with the results, is that we have integrated like a course improvement routine. So courses that are performing below sort of the midpoint in our scale, they are being asked to actually work together with our pedagogy team on improving the course. And this is communicated to the students that this is the case, so that there's really actual work going on with courses that are evaluated as being, yeah, quite poor overall. And yeah, I think that also has a sort of implicit, I mean, they don't know exactly what's going on in the conversation. The faculty can, of course, share that then for the next cohort. But I think just that we have a process like that shows the students that we do take it seriously, and we do want to hold faculty accountable to their evaluations.
Yeah, I think that's also coming up as well, you know, engagement of staff, you know, getting everyone on board. It's definitely a bit of a team effort. I guess I'm guessing everybody in the group here, the panelists, are probably feeling relating to these issues. And please do put your comments in the chat, and we can have a look at those. So then the next question I would say is, so can you briefly outline the key steps that you've taken to increase student engagement in course evaluation? I guess we've touched on this with closing the feedback loop, and for example, Kristen, you talked about doing midterm evaluations instead, but maybe some other things that, you know, the audience can take away from them. So key steps you've taken to increase the student engagement, from strategy to implementation, and how you did that. And I think that's coming up more and more. So, you know, using this data to inform strategy. Kristin Wallström, let's go with you.
I mean, as I mentioned before, we from 2020, what was it, 2021 to 2023, we had a 2-year response rate project to try to increase student engagement within the course evaluations and also program evaluations. A lot was overlapping there for us. And so, we try to find out what are sort of key issues. And this goes back to the first question that we talked about. So we realized that there are technological factors that we can improve, to increase engagement. Then, sort of faculty engagement to create more student engagement. And then also to have a look at the process, for example, survey length, timing, etc. And then over the 2-year span, we implemented different actions to try to target these different areas. And then every period we did a follow-up to check, okay, what's happening with response rates. So that was sort of our plan of action. However, what we have noticed is that with a lot of actions that you take, when it's new, it really has a big impact. But then sort of as it becomes same procedure as always, sort of the effect we have seen keeps going down over time. So for us, we really have included this now as a process that we continuously work with this, because it seems that there always need to be maybe new, different ways of trying to engage students. But then also there is a lot about culture, like what's the culture at the school when it comes to feedback provision, which is something that also needs to be gradually built up. We have one program that is also ranked in the FT, also the Master in Management, and there within the program there's a very good culture around feedback, and it seems that students really feel like, okay, it's part of my responsibility as student to provide feedback and to contribute to the quality of the program. And I think this is something that's very key, but also a bit intangible maybe to get to.
Yeah, lots of challenges, isn't it? But nice ideas there. Kristin Huber, how about yourselves?
Yeah, I have to agree with Kristin. Establishing a feedback culture is important, but I think it's a long-term project, right? And that really has to be addressed across the board. In the beginning, we worked a lot with our student union. For example, when we did a course evaluation reform for questions, we got their input. So we, of course, had done our analysis about which questions were the most important, in collaboration with our didactic unit and based on the validity of our questions. And one thing our student union said, for example, was we need to have a question on the workload. Yeah, does the workload correspond to the ECTS? And so we thought, okay, great, we're bringing in student feedback, and that's going to help with engagement. But one hard lesson that we learned, though, is the student union is not the student body. And even though the student union knew that their voice was being heard and that their input had been taken on board for the university evaluation, this didn't trickle down to the entire student body, and they didn't know that we were listening and that we were really trying to engage them. So I can give you a point from our side. Yeah, communication with the student union is not communication directly with the students. So now we're really trying to reach out more directly to the students to inform them to say, okay, good, your course evaluation, it does not just make a difference for your professor and for this course. It makes a difference also in their promotion procedures. It makes a difference for the accreditation of the university that we have, these courses evaluated and right, that it reaches the threshold. And really just building up the knowledge to say, okay, good, it makes a difference. Yeah, and we are listening. So that's how we're trying to address it. And it's incremental, but I think it's going step by step.
Yeah, no, that's interesting there. Like you said, there's often you kind of could think, oh yes, we're getting some feedback, but it's not, you want to reach out to those that are not engaged. How can we increase the engagement of the ones that we're not hearing and we're not listening to? So interesting thoughts. Jens?
Yeah, so the steps we took, as I said earlier, for us, the lecture involvement was a big step, which really increased the content or the valuability of the responses, but also the amount of them. And yeah, the feedback loop and especially the discussions in the class and emphasizing how important it is for us. So the fatigue, you also see it not only with how long do you do it, but also how fresh are the students. So when they come to the first time on campus, they click on every link and read every email. And a few weeks later, the response rate is back down, and you see this cycle after each time we talk to them, we try to improve it, we put up new methods. So we really made a point out of it to go into the class in regular intervals, the program management, talking to them about what we do with the feedback, how important it is to us, that we really hope to get valuable feedback from them. So the course evaluation is nothing we only try to get the best grades for our lecturers. It's something where we really have to work with it. So we need constructive feedback in it. And to re-emphasize this in regular intervals was really important for us, because you really see after each of the meetings the curve goes down again, and then it picks up again. So it's a steady process.
Thank you, Jens. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, absolutely good thoughts. I have been just having a look at the question Q&A, and John and Asia's doing a great job in answering them. But I thought let's use some of these here as well. So there's one here saying from Mutuza saying how to ensure students are giving quality feedback instead of just passing it as formality. Any thoughts from anyone on that one?
I think it's what I just talked about, to when they know for what they give feedback and what we do with it, the quality increases. So they have to know that it isn't a formality for us, then it's also not a formality for them most of the time.
Yeah, it is a little bit of educating, isn't it, on responsibility from the institution itself, like how to give that feedback. And I think that's what Asit has put in the chat from Stockholm School. They work continuously to teach students how to give that feedback. So I suppose that's an important element. Anything you want to add there from St. Gallen?
I was just going to say, yeah, I agree with the point. For us, one way that we ensure that is that all the evaluations are voluntary. The students don't have to fill them out. There are no consequences if they don't. There's no sticks or carrots, just so that we don't put that bias in. Another thing that you can do is you can also take a look at this, the straight lining, right? To see how many students just answer the same answer all the way down, if that's something that you're worried about on a quality level. But that's not something that we personally have found in our surveys.
One more thing from us, I think it's also a little bit about how questions are phrased. And like, yeah, for example, we have a section about faculty, which is then, each faculty member gets sort of a personalized report with those questions. And for a very long time, we had a common question that was just, please provide any other comment you have on the person. And we had a lot of very sort of unrelated, I don't know, comments on maybe personal appearance, or like really like nothing that was useful in any way for the teacher. And then, we reviewed the questions and then also tried to make the question more about, okay, do you have any other comments about this person's teaching or, the learning experience in the class, to make sure that, the questions are phrased in a way so that students are prompted to give relevant answers. I think that's also, one thing. We also had a bit of a discussion. I mean, it's a very dividing topic, but the pedagogy team, they have also brought up this question about sort of, can a student actually evaluate teaching, like good teaching? Can they evaluate pedagogy? I mean, that's not their background. So that one idea is also to make the survey, to get better quality, to make it more about student experience, instead of trying to make them answer questions that maybe they are not equipped to answer, to make it more about what was your experience with, for example, this course or so. But like I said, we are not everyone at the school is very sold on that kind of way of asking questions, but
go ahead, Jens.
I just saw earlier the question in the chat, what about rewards? And I think that's exactly going against what we just talked about. As soon as we discussed it internally, if we want to do something like that and put some kind of reward, however it be, out for filling out the evaluations, but we wouldn't increase the quality with that. We would just increase the amount at the end of the day of responses. And that's the reason why we went against this and don't put any reward out. Everything is voluntary, and you fill it out if you have the feeling that you need to say something to us.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, and it's interesting that it's come up in the chat. So thank you. I was actually going to ask the same thing. You can see there, the question around rewards, and obviously each institution have their different way of implementing. But I guess the consensus in this panel is that it's not useful. It's more about the quality, not the quantity of the responses. Also in there, I'm just having a look at the Q&A function. It's great. Keep them coming. Nice questions. Is some discussion around so the LMS systems and using that, utilizing sort of Canvas, I think it's come up quite a bit. Would you have any thoughts on how you use them, or if you find them benefit of using LMS for surveys?
Yeah,
we have,
sorry. We integrated Explorance into our LMS in Canvas, and it has a lot of features we talked about, but it gets to the same. So reward and punishment are two sides of the same medallion here. So we could put the grades behind bars until you fill out the survey or anything like that. But it's the same thing with the reward. As soon as we force the responses, they are no longer valuable to us at the end of the day. So we have it as a notification tool for our students, and they can fill out the surveys or the evaluations in Canvas, but we don't use any of these additional features which would hinder them looking at the content or at the grades or anything like that because of this.
Thank you. Kristen, I think you was going to add, Wallström, you was going to add to that one?
We we also have these pop-up windows in Canvas through the connection with Blue. But we have gotten student feedback that it's not annoying enough. Like it's so they can just click it away. So it seems that just as maybe with not reading emails or sort of sending them on, it seems that, I mean, it's good. They get more reminders, but on the other hand, if they are really, it seems that if they are very set against not providing feedback, or they don't feel like they want to, it's not going to do anything beyond that. I mean, in general, we have once tried to look a little bit at, okay, how do students answer, for example, cross evaluations? And we found that we have one portion of students that answer all of them. Then we have one portion that never answers. And then we have one group of students that answers occasionally. So likely when, they feel like for this particular course, I have something to say. And I don't think that these kinds of tools, like the notification, that they will do anything for the ones who are set on not doing them, or who sort of never fill them in, but maybe they help us get students that maybe sometimes fill them in because they are more aware or remember.
Yeah. Kristen, anything to add about LMS from St. Gallen? I think it's pretty all covered.
I would just say any barrier that you can take down is good. So if everything's on one platform somewhere accessible where the courses are, then there's a greater chance of engagement with the evaluation.
Sure. Great. No, some great discussions there so far. And obviously, I'm going to steer the conversation towards AI. You know, we can't have a conversation these days about talking about that. So I have a question here, which is, what is the next stage for boosting student engagement and the emerging opportunities for AI to support that and your work? So have any of you been utilizing AI, or hoping to, or wanting to, or what you think the opportunities are with AI to help enhance the student engagement? Asya, I can see you nodding, but maybe Kristen will speak for you.
Do you want to try? Well,
I can try, but I don't think it's gonna sound very well.
It's okay, we can understand.
No, I'm very excited about, the possibility of using chatbots and the similar adaptive AI-based tools, both to decrease fatigue, but also to make it more engaging, and like making students see how their particular experience matter. So I think that would be fantastic for course evaluations. I think I let Christine take it from here.
Thank you. Jens, sorry, Kristen, yes, go ahead.
But I mean, so far, where we have used it is a little bit to help with, drafting messaging, also trying to see if we can reformulate or make questions somehow better or more targeted, more fitting. Otherwise, we are missing overarching policies at the school exactly for what we can use ChatGPT or other AI, because obviously it would be very helpful in trying to get at the content or the insights from the data. I mean, for that it would be really great, but we just want to make sure that we don't violate any form of privacy concerns. So that's a little bit limiting us at the moment, but hopefully in the future we would be able to get to deeper insights maybe than we currently can.
Sure, absolutely. No, absolutely. I mean, I guess those are the things of anything that's new as in tip, but the growing pains. But there's already lots of great stories around how AI is being utilized, especially around that, like you said, deeper insights, that unpacking the data around qualitative analysis. So I think there's more interesting stories to be told there. Kristen Huber, any AI involvement or excitement for St. Gallen?
I think at the moment, the part that interests us the most is really for qualitative analysis. For all of the quantitative data that we have, we can slice it and dice it and analyze it and throw statistics at it and generate really great reports, that are meaningful to the stakeholders. But pretty much across the board, the faculty say, but the comments are what interests us the most, right? That's where they get their deeper insights. And it really is at the moment a giant resource. So personnel resource issue to analyze mass amounts of qualitative data. And that's where I do see the potential to do it, and where I think in our daily jobs, you know, within surveys and evaluations, where we can have maybe the biggest quick win in that area.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like I said, there's more stories emerging, especially with the, you know, can't help myself put it in there, the Explorance Millie AI solution. But yeah, excited to hear more about it. And Jens, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, in regard to evaluations, or especially course evaluations, I also see it, like Christian, more in helping out the staff with analyze, with insights. I think there's a lot of potential there. I'm not sure how we could use it student facing. There I see it more in like a chatbot in reducing response times from our staff, from our lecturers, with that things we are looking into, like, getting questions answered regarding the course material, so really learning aids there, or getting the many questions we get via mail to the staff answered faster than waiting on mail responses. And I think there's a lot of potential for the students there. But in regard on evaluations, I see it mainly in the back end in analyzing the data.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, like Kristen said as well, all around the qualitative. Asia, yes.
Yeah, I don't agree actually, because I think there is a lot of potential in actually not only analyzing responses, but also respondents. And for me right now, it would take quite much time to figure out who is not responding. And even if I do, it's hard to kind of target exactly those students, while AI could help there and maybe have special messages just for the people that never answer, then sort of somehow different messages for those that always answer. So like also on the respondent sort of background, there could be a lot of potential for improvement.
Or even different evaluation sheets. So less questions for the ones who are not so likely to answer them, more for the ones who answer everything.
Yeah, if that works. Yeah. Yeah, great. No, thank you. And so there's more to see and learn in the space of AI in course evaluation and student engagement. But yeah, it was interesting to get your thoughts. I think we're edging into the last 10 minutes, but and I just wanted to, before we do sort of get to the end of it, I do want to ask just simply, just in aim to give the audience some takeaway, just sort of ending with based on your experience and in terms of your advice, what are the main do's and don'ts? And I know we talked about some stuff and ideas, but if you were to list some takeaway, what would you say? What would be the do's and don'ts to other universities, business schools in the audience to help increase student engagement through course evaluation? Who would like to go first? Jens?
Yeah, I think the biggest don't, I would say, is from my side, don't focus too much on the response rates, on the amount, focus on the quality of the response. So it's not worth it to get everyone. You want the ones who have to say something valuable for you. And the biggest thing which helped us out in achieving that was talking to the students, not only getting their feedback and then uploading the responses in Canvas or anything like that, but the lecturer has to go into the class and tell them why it's important, tell them to fill it out. The program management has to talk to them what we do with the response. So it's the dialogue behind it, which is really important.
Thank you. Christian Malmström, what about your do's and don'ts?
Yeah, I think for sure, like, do is engage faculty or try to give them more maybe stake, as similar to what Kristen Huber said, like try to allow them to sort of feel like they have some responsibility for the survey, or like they can make it their own and really try to get valuable feedback. I think that's very, very helpful. I mean, obviously, I think don't ask too many questions. We've had some bad experiences with letting faculty choose and like add many questions to the to the survey forms, which then again, sort of the flip side, that does not help with getting good feedback. Students have maybe 30, 40 question forms to answer. Otherwise, I mean, again, creating a culture around feedback provision if possible, which of course is not a short-term sort of solution, but in the long term, I think is probably the thing that, helps the most.
Right, feedback culture and faculty engagement. Thank you. And from Jens, I think we had focus on the quality of the response rates, not the quantity. Chris and Eva, what about your key takeaway, do and don'ts?
I would say whatever you do, whatever your strategy is, communicate. Communicate directly with the students and be repetitive. You know, our students, maybe if they're master students, they're here for 3 semesters. Just because you said it before doesn't mean that this cohort heard it or that they read the last email. So be repetitive and also communicate on every channel possible. Yeah, so not just the internet or SharePoint. Go to the students where they are. You know, I can say we did a survey for our library, which, you know, it is not in itself maybe the most fascinating topic, but our student employee did an Instagram reel and it got more hits than we have students at the university. You know, just so communicate, be repetitive, hit them where they are, and good luck.
Yeah, no, good points there. Absolutely. Yeah, communication is key, right? And I think I like the point there. It's like, don't assume that because you sent one communication out, that's it, they know. But yeah, good one there, Asia, make posters. And I can't help but see there were some contributions to the AI question from some of the members where avatars asking questions on behalf of business schools. That could be an interesting one, or in 3D. I'm not sure how soon surveys will become 3D or how not annoying they will be, but there you go, there's some good ideas there. Thank you. That's really good. What we'll do is, I suppose we've had your key takeaways, closing thoughts, and we're still here a little bit. So if any questions from the audience, do let us know. But Natalia, if you don't mind getting the slides up again, because I do, before we wrap up, I do have a few things coming up that I wanted to share with the audience. That is opportunities both online and in person to get people together. Likewise, you know, we're blessed to work with Mannheim Business School, St. Gallen and Stockholm School of Economics. So thank you for your contributions today. But we get together multiple times a year and you can learn from each other. You can get reassured that you're not the only one facing those challenges and just, I suppose, learn. So I guess the first place of meetup is taking place on the 5th of February, and it's the EMEA Power of Feedback in Higher Education. So this is going to be around 4 hours of content where we will have different institutions sharing their discussions, thoughts, and I think we have a panel session there as well coming up. So look out for that one. It's not out yet, but we'll just save the date for now and we will share this soon. As in the registration page. Next one, Natalia. Then we do have in person in London, again, a save the date. We're actually going to put the call for papers out probably by the end of this month, so look out for that and I will send an email. But it's our Student Voices in Higher Education conference. It's going to be the 3rd one this year, taking place in London. And this is, again, lots of institutions across Europe coming together to talk about all the things that we talked about today, challenges, opportunities, and their stories. And then last but not least, the 3rd opportunity to meet up is our flagship event taking place in Montreal, Canada. So Explorance is actually headquartered in Montreal, Canada. So this is our flagship conference, took place this year in June. This year it's 9/11 June. Save the date in your diaries and we will be sharing the registration page soon, but it's the Explorance World Conference where this is more global and it's both higher education and HR, corporate enterprise meets. So lots to take in, lots of information shared. So hopefully you'll find we'll meet you again in one of these, but I'd like to take this chance to say thank you to Amber, Natalia, thank you for helping us put this together. Thank you to all my panelists for your insightful discussion. I really hope the audience can go away with some key takeaways. But I will, like we said, we will share the recording and we will be in touch again. And I do hope to see everyone at least one or if not more of these events in future. But thank you very much. I've given you all back 5 minutes of your day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.